Hello, White Sox fans, and welcome into another edition of the Sox On Tap podcast. It's Tony Marchese alongside NWI Steve. We've got a special guest today, Ray the Barber. Ray, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
having
me.
How y'all doing, man?
Thank you for having me.
Ray, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I got to ask this question for you right out of the chute, though.
I'm ready.
You're a U.S. Army veteran. First of all, thank you for your service.
No problem.
But my question is this. Is that where you learn the patience and tolerance necessary to put up with Justin's bullshit every day?
Yes. That is absolutely where I learned patience. That is absolutely where I learned like how to take personalities and meld them into a conversation where we could be constructive and to deal with my nephew, Justin Lee. Shout out to Justin. I love you. But yeah, he's a handful, but he's to be honest, out of my scumbag crew, the scumbags is like, so I'll tell you guys about that. If y'all allow me to tell you guys about that. So, a couple years ago during the 2022 season, I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I want to talk baseball. I want to talk baseball a lot. I'm watching a lot of baseball. Let me just start a space and see if anybody will join, send out whatever while the game is going. My idea was, can't go to the park, let's just talk baseball like we are at the stadium in the spaces on Twitter. And all of a sudden it just caught fire. I mean, it was just like, wow, every day we're watching White Sox baseball and we're talking, and I'm meeting all these different baseball minds, and we're just melding and talking baseball, like pure baseball. I learned so much about advanced stats and salary cap and freaking service time. And I mean, just 2 years ago, I knew stuff, but I didn't know it like I know it now because of the spaces. And, and then so there became a group of guys that were the everyday guys, and like the sweat hogs from, Welcome Back Cotter, or the guys at Cheers who came into the bar all the time. And so those are like the everyday guys. They became the scumbags. Like it was just like, because every day it would be Drake calling somebody, you fucking scumbag. And then it would be this guy, you're a fucking scumbag. And then everybody was like, no, we're all fucking scumbags. And it became a thing. So that's the crew. And Justin is a part of that, but he's not the worst. He is not the worst. I promise you, he's not the worst. We have some characters in there. And it takes a lot of patience, Tony and Steve, to kind of like corral them. It's like herding cats.
I know just from my interactions that I have the fortune of dealing with Justin on a handful. That's a bit of an understatement right there, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, he's a character, but his baseball acumen is fucking sky high. Like really, like that guy can bring up fucking stats and people from fucking 60s and know them off the top of his head. He's like a savant in that.
So he just likes to troll.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say he's trolling. I think that he does like to troll. He does. But I'm saying, like, when you want to talk baseball, like pure baseball, there's no one better. Like, he knows his shit. Like, he could just pull it. He's like a savant with it. Like, he knows these numbers. Like, he could tell you right now, Nomar Garcia Parra's fucking 2005 season off the top of his head. You know what I mean? Or he could pull up fucking Matt Chapman 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be anybody, and he'll pull it out his brain. It'll be right. It's crazy.
Steve's getting uncomfortable because you're talking him up so much. I can see him over there, just like, what are you talking about?
Well, because I love the guy, but him and Steve have this. They have this fucking rock'em sock'em robot thing going all the time on the internet. Like
Steve's got that with like 8 different people.
Whoa! Listen here, Anthony. I am a man of the people. Okay, yeah. I'm not the type of person to go and poke at people and prod at them like that. That is not part of my character. Certainly not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
He will push you. Justin will push you. He pushes me a lot to the point where I'm like, shut up. Like that's. But once again, like he became family. And a lot of them. I mean, they're all my family. So, but your question, when you ask that question, how do I do it? I think thankfully the Army taught me leadership qualities and how to like I've dealt with people from all over the country, all over the world, and had to lead them into war and battle and the field and whatever I was doing. I was a leader. So it's kind of tough, especially like when you're dealing with Chicago people. Like we're just the worst. Like Northwest Indiana, Chicago people are just the fucking worst because we're just better than everybody and we know it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Like for real. I mean, except for like, some guys who are Cubs fans and those guys suck, but
Yeah, well, you can't always pick the right team to root for.
can't, it's like I try to give my guy Greg Braggs a chance to be a really good stand-up guy and say that he's a Sox fan, but he won't do it because for some reason he just gave his allegiance to the Cubs, even though he was born a Sox fan. Who knows?
I'm sad to hear that.
Oh yeah, if you ever talk to him, just ask him about it. He'll tell you. He's been to more Sox games than he has Cubs games in his life. Promise you that.
I think there's somebody at On Tap Sportsnet that also claims to be a Cubs fan, but seems to show up to the Southside Ballpark.
A lot of Southside Ballpark attendance, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Steve knows who I'm talking about.
I do, but it's always fascinating that those people are always the ones that are very quick to say that how much they don't care about the Sox, and they're also very quick to like make an attendance joke when it's like a Tuesday night game against Kansas City and it's 42 degrees out and the Sox are 15 games below 500, and but they don't care. That's what they always say. But
hey,
hi Ron,
there he is.
Hi
What's up, Ron?
Yeah, they're hi Ron, how you doing? I don't know who Ron is, but I guess you guys know who that is. But look at this Gonzo. He's a scumbag too. He's a piece of crap. I hate him, but I love him to death. But like the Cubs fans that talk about attendance, they crack me up because like they're constantly at our ballpark. We're never at their ballpark.
I know.
I don't know about that. Matt Crawford's always up.
No. Listen, I'm not going to let
What?
you be smirched.
You're not going to get Matt Crawford like that.
I am not going to
Matt
let you be
Crawford's always
smirched.
at the fucking Ivy League fucking park or whatever.
Anthony, I am not going to let you besmirch the good name of a family man.
I heard some
Matt
things
Crawford.
though. I heard some things. Saw some things.
Erroneous.
What? I gotta get to the bottom of this one. Tony, you just laid something on me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to go do an investigation.
Matt,
It's fake news, Ray. Don't believe the hype.
I have to ask Matt. I know he's
We're
gonna go outside and figure this out.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in here.
Yeah,
What's up,
Matt just popped in. You called his name. He came.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy. Absolute slander.
They can hear us.
Crawford, from one family man to another, in the honor of our head coach Matt Nagy, I will defend you till the end.
I'm telling you, I just was blown away by this. Like Tony says, he spends a lot of time in the north side. I just can't.
That's what I heard. This is stuff that's on the internet. It's not confirmed.
A lot of people are saying that when you spend a lot of time on the north side, things change in your life. That's what people are saying.
I've heard that Berkland spends some time up there. Matthew Berkland, he's up at Wrigley Field all the time. There's a couple other ones out there too. Got to be careful.
I'm proud to say I've only been in that shithole one time, and that was in 2010. And I saw the White Sox beat the living fucking shit out of those bastards.
I haven't been in that shithole since 99, and I will never go back in there again. I heard they done some great renovations or something. I had
the joy of spending a corporate event in a suite at Wrigley, the last game of the 2015 season. I lasted about 5 innings before I got the hell out of there. It was like the worst experience of my life.
This might shock you
terrible.
That the game that I actually went to, I was on the cusp of getting involved in an altercation with someone wearing a Minnesota Twins hat.
Did they not sell Budweiser there?
They do sell Budweiser at the Wrigley Field, the friendly confines, but
okay. I didn't know
they don't
there
do
was
that.
There was a beer they
at
didn't
Sox
offer
Park anymore.
there for a time. I forget what beer it was. I heard about some crazy stuff about they don't sell a certain type of beer.
No Miller products.
Miller, there it is. There's what it was.
Yeah, no Miller products on the north side.
Yeah, I thought it was a Budweiser thing. But anyway, But I'm happy, man. I'm glad y'all brought me on. I'm glad, But like I said, the spaces are just like kind of where I got my foothold into the White Sox fandom. And I'm just so happy, like you guys have been in there. And, it's gotten up to like 60, 70 people during a game. And it really becomes a really authentic baseball talk. Like when you can talk about OPS plus and WRC plus and, how to rank players. And then you start talking about prospects and, GM talk. It's so much. I love baseball because of that. Like for me, football is like, it's Sunday. Let's go watch some football. It's the middle of the week. Let's check the injury report. And there's really not much more to talk about. And basketball is like, when the Bulls are playing or whoever. Did they win? No, whatever. But baseball is every day. It's every day. And you're checking that lineup every day. You're looking at matchups. You're looking at pitching matchups. You're looking at just like how they're stacking their roster compared to how we have our roster, and so on and so. It's just so much you can do.
Do we have to talk about the White Sox roster?
I guess we have.
I thought that was off the table for the day.
I guess we have to. I mean, I guess we have to talk about.
We'll get into it in a minute, but
yeah,
man,
yeah. I mean,
it's painful, Ray. It's painful.
I mean, Luis Robert, he did hit 384 or some shit like there. I guess. No, 350 something, right? And with like 38 home runs. What was his numbers last year?
He did drop the 38 bombs.
He dropped the 38 bombs, but I think he struck out like 175 times. With 70% of the pitchers in the zone, which is just.
Luis Robert's always going to have that swing and miss component in his game. I mean, that's just kind of part of the Luis Robert experience.
He was the most aggressive hitter on our team. He didn't. Most of his pitches were in the zone, and he missed a lot of them. A lot.
As Steve said, there's still going to be some swing and miss there. I mean, he's not. He's not bad. Right? He's not bad.
He's not bad. No, he's not bad. No, he he got some MVP votes last year. So I mean, he's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not.
I always tell people I look at.
He's not Oscar Colas or nothing.
I look at that's I always look at Luis Robert Jr. similar to how I thought about Tim Anderson when he was at his peak, and that a lot of people would kind of get on Tim because of the low walk rate, but if you actually look at things, Tim was at his best, and Robert is really at his best when he's working himself and getting himself into hitters' counts to look dead red on fastballs, turn and burn, pull side power, and drive the baseball. If you try to take away that aggressiveness and you try to get him focusing more on taking those 4 pitches out of the strike zone and drawing the walks, I think that's when the negative results are going to come in. So get yourself into those positive accounts to do damage on the baseball. And I think Robert is one of those guys that is just like that. That walk rate's never going to be a 10% clip over a 162 game season. I just don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, and I agree with you on that. I think that like last year, what you did see him do was he finally figured out like if he doesn't open up early, he can stay back. And that's where the bombs came in at. Like a lot of the years past, he would open up early and he'll be super early on those breaking balls. And like that's when you saw those crazy swings. He still had it happen last year, but not as often. And when he was on time, you saw what happened. He crushed it, But he really didn't get no help. But I'm not going to say that I expect the same season from here. I really think that he needs to bring some of that down to get on base more, and then let's get some Eloy going, and hopefully I'm not even going to say Moncada. I'm not going to do it.
We could spend an hour talking about Yohan Moncada, Ray. I think that's.
An hour? You think we could take an hour to talk Yohan Moncada?
I think we could do like 3 hours on Yohan Moncada. The internet would explode.
The internet would explode if you was to take and start from the fact that we were absolutely fleeced by the fucking Boston Red Sox because they knew the whole time the work ethic, the or lack thereof, the focus or lack thereof, or whatever. for Yohan, and they saw, wait a minute, Rafael Devers is a fucking monster. This guy is really that dude. So yeah, he's not really the number 1 prospect for us. He's number 4.
You got people cautioning you, Ray.
I see it.
In the comments right now.
And not for nothing, I know Matt very well. Matt is a Yohan Moncada guy. And for good reason, because I am a Yohan Moncada guy to like a certain extent. I lost a lot of faith in him over the last couple of years. A lot of faith on Yohan Moncada. Only because it's like when you watched him come up that first year, was it 2020 or 19? 19 came up, right?
He came up. It was the second half of 17.
17? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because we had 18, we had badass 19 fucking Moncada.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's what he got paid.
Right. And badass 19 Moncada. And then 20 was COVID. And then we haven't seen that again. And so it's like, what happened? What happened to this guy? What happened to this talented guy we watched in 19? Like, who just pitchers were afraid of, and he would stand stout in the box and not move and wait for his shit and crush it. We didn't see that no more. Like, I don't know what happened. I mean, so he was at the end of the year, he was starting to kind of look like himself again. And he reported early, which is,
he reports to spring training early every year.
Does he?
I don't know if anybody's
this early though.
I don't know if anybody's really paid attention to this, but like every February, it feels like for the past 4 or 5 years, he's like the first one to have the Instagram post. He's working hard. He's out there. He's in the best shape of his life.
If that's the case, because can't remember if he did it last year and the year before that, but I saw it this year. But if that's the case, what you're saying, Tony, he's fucking Fugazi again. This motherfucker, man. God damn. Like, really? You're gonna like
be careful, Ray. You'll get accused of anti-Italian discrimination if you throw that term out there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't want to do that. But at the same time, like, we just have I mean, Moncada has so much talent. He has so much talent. Like, he's easily, when he is on, he's easily a top 5 third baseman defensively in the game. Easily.
Just say what you really want to say about Yohan Moncada, Ray.
He's fucking lazy.
There it is. That's what we wanted to hear.
He's lazy. He's lazy and he's unfocused. He's too busy fucking running over here to fucking EC to chase tail and fucking, running around trying to.
Don't forget the Hooters in Maryville.
Hooters in Maryville. He's just all the way just over here, just doing whatever the fuck. And it's like how much pussy can you get, bro? Like come on. Like, focus in. Let's get these fucking runs batted in. Let's get your batting average back up to 280. Let's just do like what you're supposed to be doing, getting paid what you're getting paid, Yohan. You know what I mean? Like, he's super talented. Yes, Gonzo, he's dumb talented. He's dumb talented. It's just like,
you don't get the number 1 overall prospect in baseball rating by accident.
No, you don't. You don't.
It's unfortunate where we're at. And I told you we could do a whole hour on this.
We could.
We did about 5 minutes on it, but
Tony, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Tony, can I ask you a question? Okay, so here's my question. So when you have a prospect coming up, right? And you got Baseball America, you've got Prospects 1500, you've got pretty much every major prospect ranking guy saying that this guy is a 5-tool talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy shows you he does have 5 tools. Why does this guy fall off the map? Why does a guy that has those tools fall off the map? It's just, I don't understand it.
Between the years. I mean, this is something I have written about, I think 2 or 3 times now. But I mean, Jeff Passan labeled him a phenom before he had stepped foot on a Major League Baseball diamond. And he's widely respected as one of the best in the business when it comes to baseball reporting. I mean, you had articles written about him before he defected, scouting reports that were out there that he is going to be an absolute superstar. And when he got here, there's all sorts of different things that are out there on the internet. And if you dig far enough, you can find them. But it's just been quite the story since he got here, with all different sorts of legal battles, stuff that's out there about, what you just mentioned, the Northwest Indiana stuff. When you say the Boston Red Sox knew what Yohan Moncada was before they traded him, They did. I fully believe that. I mean, the evidence is all right there. I don't know what you feel about it, Steve, but you and I had this talk on the way to Iowa to Field of Dreams.
We did.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad because all the talent in the world is there. And my belief is he's not a bad baseball player because he can go out there and give 20 fucking % and still be better than most guys. The sad part is when you don't get 100%, and maybe there's long COVID involved. I see some of that in the comments as well. But the expectations for Yoan Moncada as a number 1 overall prospect, look at what's going on with Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, that debate.
Mm-hmm.
You have this quarterback who's supposed to come in if he's drafted by the Bears and change the franchise. That's what Yoan Moncada was supposed to do for the White Sox.
And then you have these cult members defending a guy because he has good videos running on a treadmill after he throws for 108 yards in a game.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it.
He knows who he is.
I'm not touching it. But Tony, like I'm with you. Like I had after 19, I was a Yoan Moncada fan, like huge fan. Like it was Tim Anderson, Yoan Moncada for me. Like it was like them two, they were neck and neck, and only because as a black man, Tim Anderson was just like on the south side of Chicago, he was God. Like there were black kids all over the south side of Chicago just with Tim Anderson jerseys because he would come out and he would play with them. He would come out and speak with them. He would go to their schools and stuff. So Tim Anderson was amazing for the city of Chicago on the south side with some of the black kids because they don't see that often. There's not that many black players in the major league. So having Tim Anderson represent the White Sox the way he did and be as good as he was and all of that was huge. But then right after that, Yoan Moncada was just like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Like some of the throws, some of the stops, some of the fucking, one hoppers in the hot corner and just his gun. And it was just, this guy is amazing. And he hits 280, 25 bombs. Next year, let's do the same thing. And it never came. It never came.
The expectations on him really set up what I think is the ultimate failure. I can't wait for the sports documentary on Yoan Moncada.
Right.
There will be one. I think
it has to be. I mean, you have to include the videos, the pop star fucking phenomenon that he is now. I guess he is. I don't know. He
30 for 30, Yoan Moncada.
He changes his
the rise and fall of a pop star.
He changes his fucking, Hollywood, Hawaiian shirt every now and again and stuff. I want the guy. I really want him to really be Yoan Moncada again. I really do. But
I think we all do. I hope he comes out this year and hits 30 bombs. It's not going to happen. But staying on the field and playing good defense and hitting in the middle of the order.
Has he played 120 games in the last 3 years? I don't think so.
No chance.
Let me just do a little research while you guys talk it out. I'm about to pull it up.
We've got a couple of other topics, Ray, that I do want to get to.
Okay, for sure. I'm just, I'm sorry.
Pull these stats. I'm curious.
I am curious. I'm going to see if he's had 120 games in the last 3 years. Hold on.
Steve's money's on no.
I don't think it's.
I think he might have one season.
Yeah, 2021 he had 144 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But 2022 104. Last year 92. So
that's not just a Yoan Moncada problem.
It's not. It's an Eloy problem. That's a White Sox problem.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
On both sides of the baseball.
Yeah.
Health.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at Michael Kopech. What is he? Who knows what he is?
We don't know. That's the problem is, he's now, he's 5.5 years removed from Tommy John surgery, and we don't know if he can start. It doesn't look like he can because he can't get more than 120 innings in a season.
You know where I was last year? I was at his first start. Y'all remember that game?
Opening day? Yeah, we were there too.
Yeah.
It was like, I think that's where one of our famous commenters, Mr. Matt Crawford, got a very famous photo that has circulated its way around the internet, kind of talking about his feelings about the ballpark at the
Oh my God,
that is an iconic photo.
I didn't see that photo. Matt, send me that, like DM me that photo, bro. I didn't see it, but
oh, you've seen it, trust me.
I might have. Oh yeah, this one.
Yes.
This
yes.
one? Okay,
Yes.
okay, yeah. I know it. Don't worry about it, Matt. I know exactly what they're talking about.
He was right in front of us too.
Yeah. It was it's a great photo, Matt. That's one of the best photos ever. But
we didn't know that he was sitting in our section. We all, like, a bunch of the On Tap guys were all sitting together. What was it, 324-ish, somewhere around there, and sit down for like first pitch, and Crawford walks in. We're like, oh, it's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, this is fucking great. Hey, it's like I was in the bleachers, so the bleachers gets crazy, and I was
Gotta be careful out there in the bleachers.
I was in the left field bleachers. That's where my seats were all year, and it was fucking insane because it was just ball after ball, just ball after ball, ball after ball. Like, god damn, are you just really going to give up fucking 7 home runs in a game?
You're talking about Lance Lynn? Right?
No, this was Kopech.
Kopech.
Yeah,
Lance Lynn gave up his fair share of home runs last year as well.
You know what? The big bastard gave us what he had for 2 years, but like, I don't know if you can win in baseball the way he pitches anymore.
I think
I'll let Steven take that.
You can. I mean, but the problem is when you go from 96, 97 down to 93, 94, a lot of people think that 2 to 3 miles an hour isn't that big of a deal. But that extra 2 to 3 miles an hour, especially at the top of the strike zone, it's got that extra little hop to it at the very end that everybody always likes to talk about in scouting circles and everything. And 93, 94, I mean, that's average velocity in the year of our Lord 2024 now.
Yeah.
96, 97, you can live up there at the top of the zone. 93, 94, you miss your spot, you miss your location by an inch.
It's out of there.
You're getting barreled.
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is.
And MLB today had him as one of the candidates for comeback player of the year or some shit like that. Or bounce back year.
I personally don't see it. I know obviously going to the Cardinals and everything back where he started his career. I just at this juncture, I mean, he was trying to work in more secondary stuff last year, even when he got to this, even when he started the year with the Sox, and then when he went out to the Dodgers and everything. I just don't see it at this point. I mean, he's going to be 37 years old. To me, his best days are behind him, and that's why I'm not really understanding a lot of the Cardinals' love that I'm kind of seeing on the interwebs right now. It's just I don't trust that pitching staff at all, and he's a big part of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gonzo was asking in the comments, like, he has Cy Young votes in 21 and 22, and what I'm saying is he pitches to contact a lot. Is either strikeout or it's getting hit. You know what I mean? And I think
he'd be better off with this defense that Chris Getz is assembling right now.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he pitches a certain way. Like, he pitches fastball heavy and maybe one off speed. So, but he depends a lot on movement. So let's just say he's throwing a 4-seamer and he's throwing a 2-seamer and none of them moving that day. It's getting rocked, And
we watched that.
And that's the problem. That's the problem for me with Lance Lynn. Like, I love that big bastard. I really do. I love everything about him. I love his fucking swagger. I love his fucking fire and everything like that. It's just, when you're talking about some of the best pitchers in baseball right now, Strider and fucking Burns and Kirby and fucking Alcantara and those guys, yeah, they're gonna dominate with their fastball. But that secondary pitch is a fucking just a monster. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have that. No, not anymore. He may have at one point in time when he had the velo, like Steve says, but without the velo, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I say I don't think you can win that with him throwing those balls the way that he does at that velocity, right? So no. But I mean, I know you got more things to talk, more topics. So let's just get to them, Tony. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm excited. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. This is good. We've had 30 minutes of some great baseball.
Yeah, I just don't get a chance to talk a lot of baseball.
We've got more things for you to talk about. Steve, what do we got?
All right. So we got kind of a little bit of a sense as far as like how the spaces came to be and everything. I think we got to know your perspective and kind of what you guys have been talking about in the spaces with the hot topic in White Sox land, and that is the potential new ballpark in the 78 at the corner of Clark and Roosevelt. I'm a Roosevelt guy. Some people say Roosevelt. I'm going to forever say Roosevelt. Ray, where you at on it?
Yeah, it's Roosevelt.
Thank you.
Roosevelt guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a Roosevelt guy. Sometimes I'll say Roosevelt. I don't know. It just depends. Roosevelt might. I don't know. Anyway, all I care about with the stadium, and this is legit my only concern about the stadium. Turn the motherfucker the right way. That's it. If you move to 78, make sure the skyline's in the back so we can have a great fucking view on fucking home runs and that sort. That part, but at the same time, like I love Comiskey Park, the Cell and the Raid or whatever you want to call it now. Some people call it the G Spot. I will never call it that, for obvious reasons. But I think that it's to me. I think it's Jerry's way of saying, you know what? I got one last fucking gas for money. I got one last gas for fucking trying to set my legacy with this team because I'm not going to put a great product on the field. So let me give the fans a good stadium, experience and then have them pay for it with their taxes, So it's like, I don't know. Like I'm very uneasy about it because like I have a lot of memories on 35th, either on one side of the street or the other. I have a lot of memories, you know what I'm saying? So, is the Cell outdated? No, in my opinion, it's not because I've been to some shitty ballparks in my lifetime. But if they move, I like the location. But once again, we're dealing with a different thing of traffic and all kind of other stuff. So I mean, if Jerry goes through with it, I think it's going to be dope because he's going to put the money into it. He's going to get some good developers and stuff. And I think some of the people that live down that way are going to love it, but the people that's over here on 35th is going to be like, God damn it. I used to walk to the games, So it just depends on how it is. But in the spaces, I think everybody's kind of like uneven about it. A lot of the guys are just like, as long as it stays on the south side, that's great. As long as they don't move out the city, that's great. That's all that matters. They're still the south side, but then some people are saying that's not south side, So it is what it is. To me, I'm more concerned with the fact that like, are they ever going to have the product to fill that stadium? You know what I mean? Like, because right now, I think going into this year right now, they're not going to fill that stadium up ever the whole year. Never.
So here's what I think as it relates to the stadium, and I know a lot of people have kind of shared that sentiment about, I want to see a better product on the field. I don't care that much about the stadium, or okay, yeah, you can build this new ballpark, and at the end of the day, it's going to be the same thing because it's still going to be Jerry Reinsdorf owning the team. And when I wrote something about this a couple 2-3 weeks ago, one of the most important things that I feel like a lot of people aren't taking into consideration is this, from my perspective, it's all about positioning the post Jerry Reinsdorf owned White Sox to be an actual major market team for the first time. And I think that with this ballpark in that location there, and what will be a tourist hub and what will be an area that will attract transplants from other Midwest cities there, there's unfortunately, there will be, I think, a little bit of a Wrigley vibe to it. Which I know is something that we've always kind of pushed back against. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some venture capital equity group that's going to buy this team when Jerry Reinsdorf's reign of terror ends. Look at the joy that people in Baltimore are having right now, that the Angelos family is out of the equation here.
They're having a great time in Baltimore.
Right. Think about when when the Guggenheim group bought the Dodgers back in, I think it was 2011, 2011, 2012. Go back and look at some of the horror stories of, the previous ownership group there in LA. You get one of these big venture capital, private equity groups in there that are looking at this thing and saying, hey, we've got a great ballpark and a top 3 market, fantastic location here. We own retail development around it. This thing can be an absolute cash cow. And the best way to make this a cash cow is by stepping all over these little piss ants that are in this division and playing October baseball every fucking year.
Well, I like that shit.
Steve really believes, Ray, that this is what's going to happen. But as a lifelong White Sox fan, who's been through this for a long time, as we all have, some part of that plan is going to fall the fuck apart, and we're going to be miserable still.
Yeah, it sounds.
That's what Steve has taught me, and then he tries to go and preach all this positivity on these airwaves, and I just don't buy it.
Well, I like it. I like the fact that, October baseball should be the goal every year, right? And I like the fact that it would be a tourist attraction and bring in some outside people. But my number one thing is Michael Reinsdorf. Like, where's he at with this?
But see, everybody has always said that Jerry has kind of given the directive that when the reign of terror is over, that the team will be sold. And you hear a lot of things out there that Michael has no interest in owning the White Sox, that his sole focus is on the Bulls.
I think the card that people forget that is still on the table here is that Jerry doesn't own 100% of the Chicago White Sox. There are other investors.
That is
you don't even know who their names are.
But at the same time, him and his children have been gobbling up those other investors, driving up their percentages there. Now, another 8-9 years, who knows what that percentage is going to be at? Will the Reinsdorf family have a majority stake at that point? And again, I think that's where this all comes back to, and thinking about the post-Reinsdorf White Sox world for me.
It's a world that you can't wait to live in.
No, I cannot, because let me tell you, the fucking party that is going to be had, it's going to be epic.
Did I not just mute my microphone?
You're here.
Oh, no, I'm saying, did I mute it when I was yelling for my wife?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right. I looked down, I was like, holy shit, did I not mute? Jerry Reinsdorf and I have a fucking love-hate relationship. Like, and here's why. I'm 46 years old, and I lived through the Jordan years, and I lived through the 2005 White Sox years. I lived through Frank Thomas and Robin Ventura and Ozzie Guillen and Carlton Fisk and all those guys. I just, he's given me some of the best experiences of my life as far as sports fandom is concerned. And, I appreciate him doing those things by building the teams that he built, investing the money that he invested, giving us the sale, after Comiskey Park was like, whatever, but the sale became the sale.
Hiring Jerry Krause
for sure. Hiring Jerry Krause, you know what I'm saying? Even hiring fucking, and some people going to give me some flack about it, but even going from, Ozzie to, Robin to fucking bringing back the old man 2 years ago, he's not dumb or by any means. It's just like he can't get out of his own way no more. Like, I think he's reached his peak, and it's over with for him. Like Jerry Jones. Like, he doesn't get in front of the camera like Jerry Jones, but him and Jerry Jones are very similar in how they run their organizations as owners. You know what I mean? Like, but at least I've got 6 NBA championships and a World Series from Jerry, Reinsdorf, and I'm just like, I want to see him go because I'm very angry with where he's going with it now. And I really, Jerry Reinsdorf took a lot of money out of my pocket last year. It was a 100 loss season last year, And as a season ticket holder, it's unacceptable. You want my money every month for these fucking seats that I go sit in, and I don't even want to go to the fucking ballpark because they're playing the fucking Marlins, they're playing the fucking Dodgers, they're playing the fucking Guardians, they're playing the fucking Twins, and guess what? They're gonna fucking lose. And I know they're gonna lose because the product is not on the field, and I don't want to pay my money to watch a losing fucking team. I just don't. And then you're like, you really don't care about it because you're not doing anything about it, except for you finally made the choice to get rid of Kenny Williams and fucking and rest in bitch face. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gone. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, Chris Getz is doing what he can. He's a young mind. I kind of wanted us to go outside the organization to bring in, but so far, to me, Chris Getz is on a fucking teeter-totter. What do you call that thing? A seesaw? Is that a seesaw? You know,
yeah.
Confirmed. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. So he's on that. Like he's giving me some ups and downs. Like, and for me, getting rid of the guys that he got rid of was ballsy, for real. You know what I mean? Like, but he needed to. Like, we wasn't getting nothing out of fucking Grandal. What were we getting out of Grandal? Yasmani gave us nothing. You know, we signed that motherfucker to like a major contract and got nothing, right? Like Giolito's gone.
A major contract by White Sox standards.
I mean, but yeah, we didn't give him 100,000. Like, you know, again, we would never do that because Jerry Reinsdorf will not give a baseball player $100,000. I mean, $100 million for nothing. And the Royals, who are in Kansas fucking City, just gave their superstar player 11 years, 200 something million. So anyway,
let's talk about that for a second.
Oh my God, really?
Let's talk about it.
Oh,
we're one of two organizations in Major League Baseball as of this afternoon now that does not have a player signed over $100 million contract in their history. The only other team, the Oakland A's, we all know what's going on with them. We've seen all of that, their displeasure with their ownership group. I mean, Jerry has really turned it into a powder keg, piece by piece. It's not just one thing. It's all of this when it adds up. It's everything that you've said, Ray. It's everything that Steve said on these airwaves for the last, 4 years. It's a powder keg. It's Yohan Moncada not caring. The whole organization has had its issues, and it's really reached an apex with this season. I mean, let's talk about Pedro Grifol. Let's talk about Chris Getz stuff. Every single thing could have been done better. And most other organizations take the opportunity when you have a clean front office, you've gotten rid of your problem, to correct it. Jerry has never actually corrected anything. If, I've stood up on the Tony La Russa side of the argument over and over again on this show. But again, was that really correcting the issue? Probably not.
It's a Band-Aid.
But that's the same thing you get with every decision that has been made with this organization, from free agents to ballpark game day ops to preparation to the health of everything is in question. And so that's why it feels the way it feels to be a White Sox fan right now. Steve, any comments on that?
I mean, I think that encapsulates a lot of my feelings. I think everybody knows how I feel about the spawn of Satan. He is the bane of my existence, and I will forever take him to task as long as he owns the one sports team that I truly love.
The one thing that I've heard this so many times, Steve, is this party that's going to get thrown.
It's happening.
I can't fucking wait. I'm going.
It's happening.
I'm going to this party.
Ray, you're invited. Anthony, I don't know if you're going to make the guest list. I'm going to be honest with you.
Why? Why am I not making the guest list?
I mean, I can come up with a couple.
Do you drink bourbon, Tony?
No, I'm not a bourbon guy.
And there it is.
That's fine. If you're just drinking bourbon, I'll enjoy my own party.
But
I'll go hang out. I'll go hang out in the Buzz Cave.
There you go.
Bradley's a bourbon guy, so I mean he's got the invite already, so there's that.
There you go.
But nevertheless, that's not why you call.
You guys, this conversation is just like it's making me grab my liquor and sip it a couple more times than usual because this Jerry shit. But go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
I mean, he is so stuck in his ways and has an antiquated thought process. I've written this so many times and I've said it so many times on these proverbial airwaves. He thinks that it's the same game that it was when he bought this team in 1981. It's just not. The game has changed so much. It has changed so much in just the last decade, but he refuses to think outside the box. He refuses to have his baseball notions and ideas challenged. And that's why you see these continual insular hires, why you see Chris gets promoted, because we can't waste any time because I'm 87 years old. I don't know how much more time I have left. I can't afford to go through a full rebuild. So I need someone that's here who knows the processes and knows everything in place. But, yet Chris Getz still has to kind of learn who's all here and how everything works. Fascinating stuff right there. So I've talked about this and I'm going to continue to say it. The fish stinks from the head. Plain and simple. This will always, forever be a Jerry Reinsdorf problem until the problem is eradicated.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like Jerry has he's just lost his touch. Like he had an edge to him in the 2000s, the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? With when Ozzie was here, and I've talked to Ozzie. You know what I'm saying? Like one-on-one, and he's shout out to Ozzie again for just being able to have a conversation with this man, and Ozzie was not quoting him directly, more like just kind of just giving you a little bit of context of what he was saying. It was just like when it comes to like baseball and him being a manager, he wants to manage. You feel what I'm saying? And he doesn't take shit for nobody when it becomes a manager issue. And he said it just became like it was a battle, too much of a battle over and over and over again when he wants to manage and he's not getting what he needs to manage. So that's why, when I talked to him, I was like, holy shit, like it makes sense. And then now you see the domino effect from going from Ozzie Guillen, who was this is Ozzie Guillen, right? And who did he learn from? Tony fucking La Russa. You know what I mean? Like he played for La Russa. He understands like, okay, this is how baseball should be done. I'm going to run my teams like this. And the domino effect from going from Ozzie has just been, I mean, I guess we tried it with Robin, but Robin is he wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Robin wasn't cold-blooded.
Yeah, Robin.
He wasn't cold-blooded.
I will forever be a Robin Ventura defender. I think Robin Ventura, the player, I should say.
Yeah,
I think that this organization needs to right a wrong here, and they need to welcome Robin Ventura back because he's the best third baseman in the history of this fucking franchise. And it pisses me off to no end, the fact that people don't acknowledge that because of what happened with him when he was a manager. The fact of the matter is you put him in a position with an aging roster that was out of gas. The thing was completely done, and you set him up for failure. Now, were there things that were done from his perspective as a manager that I did not like? 100%. But to put all of that on Robin, and for a guy that frankly just had a more laid-back demeanor, you see that all the time when it comes to managerial or coaching changes throughout pro sports. You have the fiery guy, and then the next guy that comes in, that next transition is a more laid back, softer spoken, less intense guy. And then the pendulum swings back again, usually. We didn't really get that with Ricky Renteria. I mean, he would have a couple of moments here and there, but it wasn't, like the level that you saw with a guy like Ozzie, for example.
Yeah, but Ricky was always supposed to be the guy to, develop the young guys. He was a developmental coach. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, he was brought here to do what he did. And he did a good job at it. And then that's why, people were like, why we go back to La Russa? Well, because La Russa was supposed to date the guys that Renteria developed and take them to the next level of winning. And it didn't happen. And so that's why we've had just mediocrity over the last fucking 5 years, going from those two managers. You know what I'm saying? So what the fuck is happening here? Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Steve.
There you go. I'm sorry. My bad.
There it is.
Yeah,
Steve.
what happened was I guess I hit my watch and
Oh.
started music or whatever. It was her come through. Anyway. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Steve, do we want to touch on some of the trade activity with Ray here?
Yeah, I mean, so look, Ray, I put out a piece here today over at ontapsportsnet.com looking at.
I didn't even get a chance to read it yet. I saw it.
It's a lot of words. I'm gonna warn you, it's a lot of words.
I saw it. I didn't click on it because I was cleaning my kitchen and all kind of other shit. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But look, I mean, these are a couple of trades, and like I've been kind of taking Chris Getz to task a little bit for not thinking outside the box, not doing things differently when. In his introductory press conference, he was constantly talking about the fact that he was quote unquote different. And I think that these two moves are different in the sense that you took a guy in Gregory Santos that had a very solid rookie season with this team and looked like a guy that was in the mix to be the closer coming into 2024. And you moved him for a couple of developmental pieces in Prelander Baroa and Zach De La Oche. And then the key variables that was the number 69 #nice overall draft pick coming up here. And then you take another guy, a prospect in Christian Mena, who a lot of people thought was going to be someone that was going to see starts for this team in 2024. And you moved him for a guy in Dominic Fletcher that has a skill set and looks like a guy that could be a solution to the long-term black hole that has plagued this team for a long ass time. And Fletcher and Fletcher has been a guy that has drawn comparisons to, Cole Calhoun, Josh Reddick, and even former Sox outfielder who they acquired also from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Adam Eaton. So these are two moves that really are not things that we saw Rick Hahn do during his tenure. I'm not as crazy about some of the actual prospects and the players that are coming back from Seattle there. I think the addition of the draft pick makes the deal a little bit more interesting right there. So overall, I actually applaud Chris Getz for doing something different, not just doing what this organization has been doing for so long and trying to think outside the box here a little bit. Ray, what's your take?
I totally agree with you with the move, with the Seattle move. The 69th, or was it 69th or 65th?
69 #nice.
Yeah. #nice. Okay. So it was that pick. But I did a little bit of research as far as on Brebbia. How do you say that?
John Brebbia. Yeah.
Brebbia. Okay. So Brebbia, he's got some stuff. He's got some stuff. I don't think that he lacks talent. The Cats Lab is going to be in full effect this year. I'm looking forward to the Cats Lab in spring training and seeing what these guys do in spring training, and that guy included. I'm really looking at that whole move because Santos, like you said, was supposed to be the closer, and him getting moves is like, okay, that to me rings that we're going to be going to what's my man, the left-hander,
Garrett Crochet,
and I really believe like that whole fucking Crochet being a starter has been fucking washed.
Yeah. Is Michael Kopech your closer this year?
If I was managing, Michael Crochet would be my closer. He would. I would fucking do it in a heartbeat. Michael Crochet. Holy shit. You know what?
That's the bourbon, Ray.
Thank you. You're right. It's Michael Kopech would be our fucking closer, and I would do that in a heartbeat because I think he is a closer at heart. I think he is. He reminds me. Who does he remind you of? He reminds you of when they tried to start our last closer. Thankfully he's healthy now and he beat cancer and Liam Hendricks. But Liam was a starter at one point in time. They tried to do it. It didn't work out. But he found his niche as a closer and became the best in the game. Right. So I think Kopech is of that ilk. Like I think he has that in him. So I would probably do that. But at the same time, Crochet, like I've always liked Crochet. I like his fucking his stature. I like his arm slot. I like his stuff. You know what I'm saying? And if they can ever hone that, he could be like. When was the last time we saw a dominant lefty closer? Like I don't remember.
Billy Wagner.
Wagner, exactly. That's probably the last one, And Wagner was a fucking monster. But I just think that with the fact that he made a couple other moves, like Jared Schuster is a fucking good pitcher. Schuster is a good pitcher, and I don't think people understand. Like getting him from Atlanta was a good move, in my opinion. I think that in the Cats lab, he's going to, get refined. And Soroka is a. I think was he a first round pick?
Yeah, he was a first round pick, and he was a guy. He was an all star in 2019.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you got Soroka in the mix now, and it's like okay, so maybe Chris Getz has a different kind of vision of what he wants. But what I do know is that. We was talking about this today in the space I was in today. I wasn't running it, but I was in it. So we were talking about how important for any baseball team to have the middle of the field taken care of. And right now, even though they're not going to put up big offensive numbers, but defensively, Maldonado, Lopez, DeJong, and Luis Robert are set down the middle of the infield. Down the middle of the field. And for any team to be successful in baseball, it is known. History has shown us that if you have those four positions, second base, shortstop, catcher, and fucking center field, pretty much good defensively, you're going to win a lot of games because of the defense that those guys can give you. Now, is Paul DeJong going to give us a fucking 270, fucking 20 home run, 15 stolen base season? Absolutely fucking not. He's not. Is Nicky Lopez even going to sniff that? Absolutely not. But hopefully Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Yoan Moncada, and fucking, maybe my boy Nicky, Dominic Fletcher over there can give me some fucking shit over there in right field over there. Like, no, I'm not just playing, but I like Dominic Fletcher. I watched him play for Italy in the WBC, and I was like, this guy is nasty. I like him.
Whoa! Italian talk here. Whoa.
Yeah.
This is great. Keep going, right?
No, I love it. I love this guy. It's this fucking guy over here. He's fucking he's Dominic Fletcher. I like this fucking guy over here. He's fucking great. I like this fucking guy. But no, he's in the WBC. He really showed out. They didn't go far because Italy was not that great in the WBC, but he was. I think he had like a fucking 300 something average. He had like 2 home runs, but he was good.
All they need to do is find a way to make a deal with Kansas City, ship Andrew Vaughn and somebody else over there, get Vinny Pasquantino over, and we've got mass Italians. We tried the mass Cubanos. Now we're going to try mass Italianos.
Mass Italianos.
Yes. Steve is living in fear if that were to happen.
If what? Wait, whoa. Time out. You don't like Vinny P?
I love Vinny P.
I just don't think we need that many Italians. Call me crazy. I don't know.
Hey, listen. Vinny P is gonna be a fuck. I hate that he's in the fucking division. He's gonna be the Pasquatch. He said he doesn't want to be called that, but he will fairly be called that. He's fucking a monster. I'm scared of that fucking guy.
Yeah, he might be the best first baseman in the AL Central.
In our division, like, you have to see this guy multiple times a year. And Vinny P is he's good. And the Royals
Is Andrew Vaughn good, Ray? It's an important question.
Okay, so let's talk about the White Sox lineup. Okay. Like, who do you guys see leading off this fucking lineup? If you say Andrew Benintendi, I'm going to.
I think it is going to be Noodle Boy.
Oh!
I think it is going to be Noodle Boy. I mean, let's be real about this.
Oh my God! No, it can't be Benny. It can't be Benny.
Why not?
What other options do we have? I mean, I'll say this in between, bites of spaghetti. I mean, he actually will take walks at like a 9-10% clip, which helps the on base percentage.
Did we watch him fucking lead off 85 or something games last year? I
just don't know what the other options are at this point.
Okay, all right, okay, so
I'd be okay with giving Dominic Fletcher a try.
So right, I agree. Benny 1. Who the fuck is hitting 2?
I think probably Moncada.
And 2-hole Moncada has been the best Moncada. I agree with you. So getting Moncada back in the 2-hole would probably be like the best idea. Now, are we going Vaughn 3? Or
absolutely not. Luis Robert.
We're not going. We're going Luis Robert 3, right?
Luis Robert at 3.
So then who's 4? Eloy?
I would try. I would start Eloy out in that spot.
It'd be great if we had Jake Burger still.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, it would. It would if you actually had a guy that could hit for power consistently.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to get that out. He's on my fantasy team, and I got him in like the 18th round. It was fucking great. But
this is a very pro Jake Burger podcast.
Yeah, I love Jake Burger. Jake Burger, shout out to you, buddy. But I'm sorry, continue. So we got down to 4. So we said Eloy at 4, and then
I think you probably go Vaughn at 5.
Vaughn at 5, and then it's just a toss up from there, right?
And then everybody else is getting out.
Everybody, yes. Yeah, like 69 is like the pitchers are like, oh man, this is fucking great. Whew.
All right, we can take our foot off the gas here now.
I can just throw fucking bullshit, and these guys are not going to hit it because you got Nicky, you got fucking DeJong. DeJong didn't have a bad year.
I mean,
is this team outside of Luis Robert going to be able to steal a base? Like, that was a huge focus last year. At least it felt like.
No, I mean, the majority of the teams that won games last year stole a lot of bags.
And there's not a lot of speed right now. I'm just looking up and down some of these guys. Like,
there's no speed. I mean, unless we get Luis Robert to start stealing bags again, if we get Yohan to start stealing bags again, Benny has fucking speed too, but he doesn't do it. And then you said something early, Tony, and it didn't piss me off. It just rubbed me the wrong.
He does that a lot.
He said something earlier. He said something about Pedro Grifol, and I'm just gonna leave my comments to a very minute level. Okay,
go Ray.
So Pedro Grifol was brought in to be the manager of the Chicago White Sox, and this man literally said that we're going to be different. We're going to go out every day and we're going to play to win. He said he used some very choice words in his first interview or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also said that, analytics will play a major part in what he does. We're going to be using analytics to get us to, where we want to be and so on and so forth. I didn't see none of that fucking shit.
Nobody did.
No, I didn't see none of that shit. Like, what the fuck were you? What analytics were you using? You wasn't using WRC. You wasn't using fucking goddamn OOA or any of fucking advanced stats like that. Like to build your lineup. Like, what were you doing? Like, I don't know what he was doing. Like,
I don't think he was making the lineups, right?
I don't think he knew what he was doing either.
You don't think he was making the lineups, Tony?
No.
Holy shit! Like, what is he had the fucking lineup fairy come in and fucking do it every morning?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The White Sox analytics fairy department.
I was like, what are we doing? What is this? What is this lineup?
Well, I mean, Tim Anderson in his time here was basically sharpied into the leadoff spot. So that I felt like the team did better when Andrew Benintendi was leading off. Just from the eye test. Like it felt better. Tim Anderson had a shit year.
Yeah, he had a
Did not know how to set the
yeah.
tone at all, as we like to say on this show.
What set the tone is you guys think. I love it. Also, Tim Anderson last year, shout out to Tim. I hope he gets his shit together, and I know his wife stuck by his side. But I know what it feels like to be in a relationship where it's topsy turvy. That shit takes over your life. I'm sorry, and then people don't understand that. But when you have made mistakes and you really trying to bounce back from it, and you're trying to keep your wife, like that shit is terrible. Like I've been there. Like I've literally been in his shoes. Made the bad decision, and now I got to perform on the back end of making a bad decision. So I hope he gets his life, like set and in order. But when she came out with all that shit, that fucked him up. Trust me, he wasn't seeing that coming. He didn't see that coming. And Tim, he was a shell of himself last year. We have never seen Tim hit 240 something. Like never.
And you're talking about a guy that was playing on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Exactly. Like this guy
went down the drain.
It went straight down the drain. Like I love Tim Anderson. Now, like I said, I hope he's a family guy, and I hope he really keeps his family together because, and not for nothing, like young guys in their 20s. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in my 20s, like I made a lot of mistakes. I did. Like I was with. I did what made me feel good, and whatever made me feel good, I just did it. Like I didn't care the repercussions until the repercussions came, and then you got to deal with those, and that shit sucks. That shit sucks bad. So I hate when people bash him for his mistakes because like, what were you doing at 27, 28, 29 years old? Like I was still making mistakes. I'm on my third marriage because of my first mistake at my 20-something-year-old ages. So, you know what I mean? So I just want people to know that. But at the same time, we're looking at a lineup where the White Sox are going to go into this year, and like you said, 6 through 9, like nobody's afraid of that, but they are afraid of. I don't even know if they're afraid of Benny, Vaughn, fucking Eloy, Moncada, and Robert. Like
you're probably only afraid of Luis Robert in this lineup. But Ray, I want to double back on what did I say that upset you on Pedro Grifol? Because I've got a follow-up question for both of you.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's what nothing really upset me is the fact you brought him up. But
just the name?
It's just my fucking God.
The name. We've got to start putting trigger warnings on anytime you mention Pedro Grifol.
Yeah, Pedro Grifol, like I wanted a manager that understood analytics and used them. And he said he was, and he didn't. I wanted a manager that said that he was going to run the spring training different, and he didn't. I wanted a manager that was more fundamentals focused, and the team played with more fundamental focus, and he didn't. You know what I mean? Like that's all the things that he said he was going to do, and he came and he did none of that shit. Like none of it.
Well, the funny part to me, and this is my question for you guys. So we were talking about managers earlier and how you sort of sway back and forth between, the hardcore guy versus the players manager and back and forth. You both classified, Ozzie is sort of cold-blooded, right? Was your words.
Yeah.
So you go to Ricky Renteria. I think we can all say that, he wasn't a cold-blooded manager. He was more of a player's manager.
He was a player's coach, for real.
Right. Mm-hmm. Where it sort of broke down for me was you were supposed to get cold-blooded Tony La Russa. And I think you did for a little while before things started to slip away from TLR. And what I've heard from guys like Jake Berger, who's been on the show, was that, he carried a lot of respect but I don't know if he was exactly as cold-blooded as people expected him to be or wanted him to be. He also made some mistakes. Then you go to Pedro Grifol, who comes in, and you brought up the introductory press conference. He came in acting very cold-blooded. We're going to kick your ass every night. And then he went out there and he got basically knocked out just like Tim Anderson did by Jose Ramirez from the whole entire league. Just rolled through this team to a 100-loss season. It was embarrassing. Is he a player's manager? Is he cold? What is Pedro Grifol to both of you guys? What is he? Because I can't figure out who the fuck this guy is as a manager. There's no identity. It's bland.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Steve start off, and then I'll go after that.
He's a one and done manager. I think after this season, you ain't never gonna see that Mr. Clean looking son of a bitch in a dugout ever again. I mean, everything he said during that introductory press conference, we all know now to be bullshit. That's just what it is. And you're right, Tony. He doesn't bring any kind of an identity to this team. And I find it hilarious in a sense about how, last year he's talking about, we've got this great group, everybody's together. And then all of a sudden this winter, as guys are not being brought back and guys are being traded, we didn't have the group that we needed last year and everything. The tone magically just changed when guys walked out that door. To me, that's some spineless shit right there. Don't sit there and be in front of the camera all the time during the course of the season talking about, we believe in this group. We've got the group in here that we want to have. And then, the minute that they're not here anymore, well, we didn't have our group. That's weak. That's just absolute bullshit. And that's why I can't wait until this thing is over. We might get the third year of this contract in 2025 because the team's not going to be contending. And then hopefully this process, Rebuild 3.0, turns the corner. And as we go into 2026, we actually move on to somebody that has a clue in that dugout.
I agree. I'm Pedro Grifol out. I don't know. And Tony, you said something to the effect of, you don't know what he is. I don't know what he is either. I don't. And I was one of the guys when he first got hired because of his background and where he came from and some of the things that people were saying about him and, respect the guys around the league. And they were just like, this guy's smart. He's very good at what he does and so on and so forth. And then, you saw who he brought in with him. It was like, okay, cool. Like maybe we will be, focused on the finer points of the game and analytics and so on and so forth. Because for a long time, I'm an old guy. What I see on the field is what I see on the field. Like that's how I judge the teams without the numbers, without the analytics or whatever. What I saw on the field, what the manager wrote on the fucking lineup, card before the game or whatever, is what I judge the manager off of and how the team played. Right. So growing up watching Carlton Fisk and fucking Ozzie Guillen and Harold Baines and those guys in the 80s, and then moving up to Frank Thomas and all those guys in the 90s and so on and so forth. It was like a brand of baseball that I understood. I didn't know what the fuck was happening last year. I don't know. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Little league bullshit is what I like to describe it as.
It
looks like an unprepared little league team.
Yeah, I mean, like did we bunt one time last year? I don't remember seeing a bunt.
I don't know.
Anybody remember seeing a bunt?
Oh, there were
a couple, I'm sure.
Yeah, there were bunts in there. Look, I'm famously.
I'm sure Zach Remillard dropped a couple.
Oh yeah, Zach Remillard. Yeah. Yes, he did. I remember the Zach Remillard bunt. I remember that. I watched that game, but I mean, it was just like
I feel like Noodle Boy bunted a couple times too.
I remember you.
I think he did.
Noodle Boy is fucking hilarious to me. Andrew Benintendi being called Noodle Boy is fucking amazing. It's like a triple entendre. It's like a triple.
It really upsets Anthony, though. I know
No,
that.
it's like, hey, Tony, I'm sorry. It's like a triple entendre. Like Noodle Boy is fucking funny. Like, I'm sorry, I can't help it. That's his arm is a noodle, right? He's a bit intendy, so you just take it like he's Italian. So it's noodles. It's like it's so many layers.
Steve really worked hard on that one.
It was so many layers. We were on the timeline, and he said that. I was like, "Who the fuck is Noodle Boy?" He's like, "Biddy." I was like, "Holy shit, that's fucking." I would forever call him Noodle Boy, like forever. But it
so bad.
But I mean, I'm gonna keep it positive. Grifol has a better chance at winning 65 games this year. 65 to 80 games this year. Let's just put it there. 65 to 80 games this year than he did last year. Only because the roster, in my opinion, is better than last year. And the only reason I say that is okay, I'm sorry. I don't know, this little fucking thing I got, this fucking you dig? There
you go.
Podcast on
You went like almost like anonymous voice there.
Yeah, it has a short in it. It does go there. It does go there sometimes. I don't know why. It's weird. Anyway, what was I saying?
You're trying to be positive about Pedro Grifol.
Oh, what I'm saying is this: it's the team is better in my opinion. Like only because we have like I was talking about earlier, the defense is different, and we have pitchers. You brought back a possible Cy Young winner because nobody wanted to pay the price we were asking for him, right? And Dylan Cease. We don't know what Michael Kopech's going to do, but we do know you got Tukey Toussaint. Hey, who knows what Tukey's going to be? Tukey's that dude. You know what I'm saying? Tukey. I'm sorry, I can't even keep a straight face saying that. Jared Schuster, Michael Soroka, and what's the other guy's name? We got one more starter, right? Kopech. Is Kopech a starter, y'all?
I think Kopech is penciled.
Eddie Fetty.
Yep. Fetty, yeah.
Eddie fucking Fetty, y'all. Coming from the KBO. You know what I mean? He was dominating the KBO. Think about Eddie Fetty coming back to the fucking MLB and fucking throwing fucking heat. And
I think my guy Brian Bannister, in whom we trust, it's going to be interesting.
I'm going to get you a Bannister we trust T-shirt line.
Please do, because I will wear it.
I know you will.
Don't think I won't.
Yeah, you can if you sell 100 of them, we'll start to make some other side deals on it.
Challenge accepted.
Hey, Steve.
Challenge accepted. All right, let's do it.
Steve, of the young guys, I want to talk about the prospects before we go any further. Prospect wise, so we go into spring training next week, right? We got 6 weeks of spring training. Get ready for the fucking the new season. Which one of the prospects you think breaks camp with the team?
I don't think any of them do.
Wow, Tony.
I'm in Steve's camp.
Wow.
I think a lot of the moves, and Steve will probably agree with this, a lot of the moves that were made this season were to buy some time for some of these guys. Like Colson Montgomery, probably not. Steve and I had a long talk on this, patience with the prospects last week. And there's no reason to do it.
I agree with that.
If you bring Colson Montgomery up, in mid-May, and even if everything went perfect and he hit 25 to 30 home runs, you're still not moving the needle for this team because there's just not enough around him.
Yeah, what's the benefit?
Right. At the end of the day, he's only played 50-some games down in AA Birmingham. We've seen this enough with this organization over the last 15, 20 years where they rush guys to the major leagues and they don't allow them to fully develop before coming up. And I think with where this team is at right now, they have actually afforded themselves the luxury to allow these guys to spend more time in the minor leagues to fully develop where they haven't in the past. You think about like Gordon Beckham was drafted in June of 2008, And then by late May of 2009, he was already up in the bigs, being plugged in at third base, a position he had never played before, because they had to have somebody there because they were the defending division champs, and they thought that they still had a shot there. So they just plugged in a guy in a spot that he wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
And it worked out well for that season. And everybody thought, hey, Gordon Beckham is going to be a guy. He's going to be a cornerstone player of this team going to second base the following year. And then it just never materialized after that.
No, I'm with you on like Colson Montgomery. I'm with you on what's his name? Cuero. Yep. Cuero. I'm with him on them. I'm a little bit skeptic on Brian Ramos though.
See, I just don't know where he's going to play, because the issue with him is he's been playing predominantly third base.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I thought he was going to be traded at some point.
I'm with you on that one too, Tony. Like if he wasn't gone.
Although if you get a good start to the season from Yohan Moncada, it's probably in the realm of possibility that he's moved. It's not going to be for something sexy at all, just based on the history here and what you've seen. But there's no way he's coming up. Although I will say this, if Yohan Moncada is only playing 120 games, you might see Brian Ramos up here at 35th and Shields manning third base as a fill-in for Moncada.
But Tony, like here's where I'm at with it. Paul DeJong is limited, I think, as a shortstop. Nicky Lopez is not as a shortstop. Like Nicky Lopez is, he is a glove. He has Gold Glove caliber defense in his body, like legit.
I thought you were talking more on the offensive side, because I'm pretty sure DeJong has some ability to flash the leather a little bit.
I mean, does he?
He's graded out well defensively throughout the course of his career.
He's solid. He's solid defensively. But hear me out. This is where I'm going with it. What if we go to spring training and Brian Ramos is really like ripping the leather off the ball, right? And they're just like undeniable saying, we got to have him up, right? And what if he plays second throughout the whole spring training, right? And we move.
You're forgetting that Whit Merrifield's going to sign with the Chicago White Sox before spring training.
God damn it, Anthony!
No, what? Where'd you get this shit from?
Don't dignify him, Ray. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I gotta check Twitter. I'm gonna check.
Whit
Merrifield. Whit Merrifield?
Don't do it.
No way. No fucking way.
It was reported earlier in the offseason that
what's this guy like? 47 years old? He's older than me.
Hey, no. Steve and I had a long talk about how the White Sox missed on DJ LeMahieu at one point and Whit Merrifield.
No, I mean, yeah, we did like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
See?
But I mean,
that's always gets his guy, man.
I don't want DJ, nor do I want Whit Merrifield on the fucking White Sox. What purpose do they serve on the White Sox, Tom?
They don't. That's the point.
Oh. I mean, I cannot with bringing more. Like Paul DeJong was a like swallow, like, okay, I got to take that one. But then like Nicky Lopez, like I said, for him, he's different. He does have a glove, and maybe he has untapped potential with his bat, because he really doesn't get. I think he had the most.
I think we pissed off Nicky Lopez earlier today from the Sox On Tap Twitter account.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I gotta check it out. When I get off here with you guys, I'm going to y'all fucking Twitter page and I'm going to search Nicky Lopez and see what happens.
Oh, though there was an interaction.
There was an interaction with us.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people are going to think that I was the culprit of this. I, in fact, was.
Well, there's multiple people who has access to that account. I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
The Sox On Tap account, for those who haven't figured it out yet, is a very shared account within the podcasting group.
Right. Yeah, like when the Juke joint goes off, it could be me, it could be Elise, it could be Eric. Who knows? But
is Eric still on Twitter?
Yeah, he's still So
I haven't heard from Eric in a while.
Eric took a little sabbatical to deal with a lot of like home family type stuff. Plus, he's like this. He's a hustler, man. Like this man is a hustler. Like how he does how he goes about life is a hustler, and I love it. I love that about him. So, but yeah, we got a show coming on Friday with BGR, and then we got a show on the Juke joint on Monday with he and I talking about spring training, going into spring training. So it should be dope. But Eric he's just not as active because he has a lot more responsibilities at home and at work right now. So but yeah, he's one of the smartest dudes I ever met as far as GM shit. And he taught me a lot about like everything about baseball, like service time and just the analytics and WRC plus, like ex Woba. This shit is crazy. Like that shit.
I've had a couple of good baseball talks with him.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Not pretty good. He's damn good. Like, like, does he make predictions that don't pan out? Sure,
we all do.
We all do. But
like
a lot of times,
the White Sox.
a lot of times, like he's spot on with his thought process, and that's why I love him. That's why I asked him to start our podcast together, because I've never really came across a guy with that much acumen going on in his mind all the time. So, it is what it is. Hey, can I ask you guys a question, Tony?
Sure.
So about the White Sox, you have Noah Schultz.
Okay.
Have you watched tape on this kid last year? Steve, have you watched tape on this kid?
Yeah.
He is probably the most. I'm more excited about him than any other prospect. I am.
I'm also probably more scared about him than.
Why?
Just because I have prospect paranoia at this point. And like when I see Jeff Passan, talking about him, saying that he thinks he could be a top 20 prospect in the sport by mid-season, I just get scared because of everything that we just went through. And, look, the fact of the matter is he had some forearm issues towards the end of last season. And we've lived that nightmare before. We saw it with Garrett Crochet. We saw it with Michael Kopech. So I'm scared anytime a White Sox prospect kind of gets talked about on a national level the way that he's being talked about right now.
Does he get like, so let's just talk about, like, what was the injury before he came back last year? That was a leg issue, right? Right? It wasn't shoulder or arm or anything like that. I think it was legs. What was Noah Schultz's issue?
I'm trying to remember what exactly
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was arm issue. But
I want to say
in August 2022, he hit the IL with a shoulder issue.
Okay, so it was a shoulder issue.
That was 2023. Sorry. I don't see anything prior to that. Oh, he did have a left hip contusion.
There it is. That's it.
Oh no, never mind. That's just an injury report that Google has thrown Brandon Miller's left hip contusion on.
No. Because if you look at his stats, I think he only pitched
27 innings.
He had a forearm strain in April and a shoulder issue in August.
Right. So
that's concerning to me. That's like a huge red flag.
Right. But if you look at the games he pitched, what happened was he's raw. Like, the kid's 19 years old, going into 20 years old.
I think he's 20 right now at this point.
But he's a lefty, right? And they changed his arm slot. More Randy Johnson arm slot than what he was in college. I mean, as you were in high school.
I found the injury you guys were looking for in 2022.
Was it an oblique?
No, it was mononucleosis.
Yeah, mono. You know what? Fucking nasty women with dirty mouths, man. It's what happens.
That's why you got to stay away from those women in Oswego.
That's yeah. But
not that I would know.
As a lefty, he was coming from here, and that's kind of like in high school he was coming from here with a release. You know what I'm saying? Doing what he was doing, and now they got him over here. As a release point. So I don't know, Steve. I think I get it. Like your concerns, because we do have a history of fucking bullshit with prospects, but Noah Schultz, he's nasty. He's nasty.
Oh, the stuff
He's
is
got stuff
yeah,
plus.
it's electric, man.
Yeah, he's got stuff. And I really look forward to him. I can't wait for spring training and the showcase of talent in the that they're going to put on in March.
Yeah,
the MLB is putting on in March. I can't wait because I know Noah's going to show his ass, and I think that, like, for me, Noah Schultz is like the most exciting of our prospects. Like, Cuero's going to be good. I know he's going to be good. Ramos, he may or may not pan out. I love Popeye, but Popeye
it's my baby boy.
Yeah, Popeye just, talking to Daniel Victor, like, kind of put me on Popeye, but like, Popeye is just like, he just will not get a chance. I'm sorry. He just won't. He's just going to be stuck in AAA for some, And then Costa Montgomery, people are talking about he's coming up with the squad this year. I don't see it. I don't see him breaking camp with the.
No, I don't either.
I don't see it. I'm sorry. It's just for you White Sox fans out there, like, who think Costa Montgomery is going to break camp. He's just not. Like, they're not going to start this year, with him on the bench, because they have.
Do you see anybody breaking camp, Ray? You asked us that question. You got one that you think is going to break camp?
No, and only because we don't have room. We don't have room. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I do have one. I'm sorry. You ready? You ready for this guy?
Let's hear it.
Oscar Colas.
Do you still consider him a prospect?
I mean,
he's ducking out.
No,
now.
I'm just fucking around.
That's cold.
I couldn't help it.
Do you guys actually think that there's a chance that he does not break camp?
Yes.
With this team?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
At least I'm not far off base there. With the addition of Fletcher, I think.
Well, Fletcher, and then you add
in be a position battle between Gavin Sheets and Oscar Colas to make this roster.
And then you have Kevin Pillar actually hitting on the right side, as a reserve outfielder there. I think it's probably almost fait accompli at this point that Oscar Colas starts the year in Charlotte.
Grifol hates him too.
That's
for some odd reason.
Right.
We were talking about this the other day.
He was the only player that he ever took to task last year.
Yeah, like, he does not like Colas, and only because Colas didn't give him effort.
Yeah,
he didn't give him effort. Like, if you watch this kid play the outfield, it was just like lackluster. It was like, I'm gonna get there when I get there. I'm gonna throw to the cutoff with whatever I got, from here to there, whatever. It wasn't like I made it to the show and I want to show everybody what I can do. It was like, I made it to the show and go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt, and
the results weren't there.
No, I mean, he even hit fucking 200 last year. Like, I know people hate batting average, but this motherfucker didn't even hit 200. Like, it was terrible.
It was not good.
It was a terrible fucking year. Like, I think he had it was bad. But I mean, you got Fletcher, Pillar, Deloach is still in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Deloach is there. And you got fucking who am I thinking about? It's one more, right? It should be 4. Oh, the big bastard, the big fucking lefty,
Gavin Sheets,
my son.
Gavin Sheets. Who I don't know what he is.
He's a first baseman in right field.
Could you imagine Gavin Sheets fucking, like, if they figured out, what's my man in Baltimore who went crazy at the end of the year last year in Baltimore?
Mountcastle?
No. He's the starter. The other fucking big bastard.
Santander?
No. They had another kid. I'm sorry. Let me think. Hold on.
Gunnar Henderson.
No. He was a veteran like Gavin Sheets, who started hitting bombs for them.
I thought it was Ryan Mountcastle.
No, Mountcastle was a young guy. Hold on. I mean, I'm sorry.
I got to look up the.
I have to
here.
I have to, because it was another guy. that produced for the Orioles last year.
Not
And
Cedric. Not Cedric Mullins.
No,
You're talking about a lefty?
he was a lefty. Yeah,
Drawing a blank.
Yeah.
he was fucking disgusting. What was his fucking name?
We're going on the baseball reference pages.
Yeah, hold on. His name was what was his fucking name?
He played first base.
He played first base and he played outfield.
Yeah, I got nothing on this one.
Ryan O'Hearn.
Oh,
Ryan
former Kansas City
O'Hearn.
Royal.
Yeah, Ryan O'Hearn. Remember how Ryan O'Hearn just, nobody knew what the fuck he was. And then last year with the Orioles, he just started fucking hitting fucking bombs all over.
289, 322, 480 with 14 homers in only 368 plate appearances.
There you go. Yeah, that was Ryan O'Hearn last year. And I think he's 28 years old?
He is 30.
He's 30. God damn, he's 30?
He's 30. He's a career minus 1.5 B WAR, and he put up 1.2 in 2023.
That's Gavin Sheets. That's fucking
sort of phenomenal if you think about it.
That's Gavin Sheets. That's Gavin Sheets' career right there. He's fucking Ryan O'Hearn, like for real. Like
career high in home runs.
Yeah,
last season with 14,
and it was only because
he never hit over 260 in his career,
and that's only because Ryan Mountcastle got hurt last year. He had vertigo for fucking 35 or 40 games.
I had Mountcastle on my fantasy team, and that went down really quick.
Yeah, could you imagine being a fucking hitter in baseball with vertigo? Holy shit! That motherfucking ball is just doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, people are like, he's a fucking pussy. He's got fucking vertigo. Go fuck yourself. Like, I mean, Ryan Mountcastle is a fucking phenomenal. And then once you had him on your team last year, did you drop him, Tony?
No, I sort of just kept him to the end.
Okay,
so I was out of contention.
But toward the end of the year, he finally figured it back the fuck out and went crazy. Like toward the end of the year, like he went crazy. So, like, I love. Last year was my first year playing Dynasty. We got our Scumbags Baseball Classic going on. This is a
Dynasty fantasy baseball is the only way to go. That's just my personal opinion. Steve's not a fantasy baseball guy, but I know you guys are going to talk a little bit about some WWE stuff before we get out of here.
Yeah, we are.
I'll take this opportunity to talk about fantasy baseball.
We will. Me and Steve will talk about WWE before we go. I'm sorry. But Tony, me and you are fantasy baseball guys. This is my first year playing fantasy baseball in a dynasty league. I played fantasy baseball for the first time in 12 years last year. So I really didn't remember how to play it and how to be good at it, so on and so forth. And I had a week last year where I didn't meet the fucking minimum innings with my pitching.
Yeah, you mean the best way to play fantasy baseball is wake up every day, and that's like the first thing you're supposed to fucking do.
I'm up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm up at 3 a.m. setting my lineup, like for real. Like I'm legit up worrying about what the fuck I'm going to do against whatever opponent I have that day. And I'm legit looking at my roster every fucking day. And Steve, you can't imagine the amount of stress it takes to manage a baseball team in fantasy baseball. So
how many keepers do you guys run in that league, Ray?
Huh?
How many keepers?
Okay, so this is our first year in the dynasty. So we have 26. We had 26 rounds in our draft, right? And now we're doing our minor league fantasy draft on Friday. Meaning we have 12 rounds of minor leagues. Anybody that hasn't started their service time clock can get drafted, and international players. So that means Yamamoto. That means my man in San Francisco, I forget his name. From Japan. All these guys are available on Friday, so I'm looking forward to that. But Tony, check this out. So I put out a couple episodes on the Juke Joint page on the YouTube with Juke Joint, and we've been doing a recap of our fantasy league. But guess where I got George Kirby?
Where at?
4th round.
Wow.
Number 1. Number 1 in the 4th round. Yeah. I got Christian Encarnacion in the 7th round, 12th pick. Christian Encarnacion Strand, yeah. I got this. This is my favorite pick of the whole thing. I got Jake Berger, 13-12. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I got
I made the mistake, Ray. I'm sorry to cut you off. I made the
tell me.
mistake in my dynasty league of stacking the Chicago White Sox, and this has thrown me off for about a 5-year period because
when did you start your dynasty league?
I've been in it since 2012, 2013.
Oh no, Tony.
And
you stacked
I
White
stacked
Sox?
I stacked the White Sox during Rebuild 2.0. It was the worst thing that you ever could have done. So we get to keep 8 players. At one point, my keepers were Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert,
Oh my god.
Michael Kopech, Jose Abreu.
Okay.
Trying to think who else. I've the only one that's left on my roster is Luis Robert. But like I had almost the entire fucking team because I bought in that hard. Like that's
oh my god, it
was terrible. And then they all had like no value, so nobody wanted to trade any of these. I traded Corey Seager for Yohan Moncada.
Oh my!
It was bad,
Anthony. That's not something you should tell people.
That hurts
me. It was bad.
Tony, that hurts me.
I'm sorry.
That was before he came up. I traded for him as a prospect. There was other parts of that deal. It wasn't straight, but it was bad. Eloy Jimenez was on the roster. He actually just got cut this year. I mean, it was fucking brutal.
It's not great.
Yeah, it's 5 years of futility for the Hoombas. The Hoombas are my team.
Yeah, well, my team is called the Matrix Survivors.
Don't pick White Sox players. That's what I've learned about fantasy baseball.
I don't think I have any White Sox players on my team. I don't. Matter of fact, I know I don't have any White Sox players. I don't. But I do have. I got Matt McClain, Jake Berger, Royce Lewis, Kerry Carpenter. Detroit is going to be a fucking. You know what? Let me just say this now before we get out of here and before we start talking WWE, Steve. The AL Central is a fucking. The next few years is going to be a fucking bloodbath. It is. Like the Twins are going to be good. The Guardians are going to be good. The fucking Royals are going to be good. Are we going to be good?
No.
Exactly. Like those 3 teams are better than us right now. The Guardians, the Twins, and the Royals are better than us right now. They are. And we just have to deal with it. Like Screwball, Mize, fucking, if they bring up that big fucking bastard they got in Detroit, I forget his name. He's
Jackson Jobe.
Joe, but I'm thinking about Garver Smith or whatever his name is. He's got 2 names. Sawyer something. He's a big bitch, and he throws fucking he fucking blanked us in 7 innings. Sawyer Gibson something.
Oh god, yeah,
he came to the cell and fucking like blanked us.
Hey, coming into the cell and facing the White Sox is like a major league pitcher dream.
And he came in and did that shit. Like he went 6 in the third or something and went stupid and had like 9 strikeouts. Anyway, but yeah, like I mean, the Twins are like who wins the Central next year?
I still think it's the Twins.
It's the Twins. It's the Twins. I mean, they're stacked. I mean, I see.
I don't think they're stacked. Like they haven't really done anything to improve their team over what. Like they're basically taking the division for granted. Honestly.
So you saying by default they're going to win?
Yeah.
The division.
Yeah.
So
we're thankful that we play in this division now.
Here's my problem with your assessment. Brian Buxton didn't play hardly. You know.
In other news, water is wet.
Okay. Carlos Correa had a down year.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Julian is going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Royce Lewis is fucking good.
Yeah.
Fucking Kirilloff had a fucking, topsy-turvy sophomore year or whatever, but I think he's a stud. And they have just like, I hate Mad Max. He's a motherfucker. I've hated him for years, but I love him because he's just that good. Mad Max out there, He said Buxton would be on ICU by March. That's crazy. March is insane. Like that's he can't even get out of spring training. But that's the thing about the Twins. I really like, and then their pitching staff is just, it just depends on how their pitching staff performs. But I mean, they still have Lopez. They have it's hard to think about it because I'm thinking about the Guardians right now because that's the team I'm really thinking about. Like,
see, the
Guardians are fucking.
See, they just don't hit. That's the problem.
Ooh,
Cleveland.
Okay, so Naylor doesn't hit. Ramirez doesn't hit.
Ramirez hits.
Okay, so Naylor doesn't hit.
Naylor doesn't hit enough for me.
Okay.
He only hits. Here's the problem.
He only hits against the Sox.
He only hits against the Sox. So you see him play against the White Sox, and you think that's a fucking stud. And then he goes out and he plays average baseball against every other team. He just fucking hates us and is cold-blooded against the Chicago White Sox.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I agree with that because he does fucking kill us. But I mean, the other Naylor brother is going to take off.
Mm-hmm.
Bo takes off, in my opinion. What's his name? Brennan. He's untapped. On
I mean, they've got guys, from a prospect standpoint that,
and then they're gonna bring up what's his name this year. They have to. Not Cole Keith. That's Detroit. God damn, what's his name? I can't even think of his name. They have a really good prospect that's coming up this year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've got prospect guys, but like if you just look at this team over the course of the last few years, like they just don't hit for enough power. Because I'm looking at the roster like right now. I mean, like, okay, Andres Jimenez had a nice year, but like he's not consistent enough. Like, I mean, you're trying Gabriel Arias out there, Estevan Florial from the Yankees. Yeah. I mean, like Ramon Laureano. I mean, like, there's just a lot of guys there that they're not power hitters. And like, it's such a contrast because you think back to 30 years ago when I was growing up, when that team was just stacked with mashers, and it's just not the same at this point from my perspective here. I mean, like, I don't see them really being a threat, honestly.
Yeah, Chase DeLauder is coming up with them.
Okay,
he's breaking camp with them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fucking dog. He's a dog. Like that young kid is amazing. Yeah. But so the Twins coming in first. The Royals are going to be way better than what they were. Bobby Witt getting fucking 11 for. Is it 11 years, 277, or is it 14?
It was like 281, I think.
Okay, so is it 11 280? It's 11 281, but I
years.
saw something about 14 years with club options or whatever.
I mean, it might be, but I think it's it's a lot. 11.
That's a lot. And then you got Vinny P down there. You got fucking Miguel Garcia is a fucking that kid is special. And I may be a little bit biased because I really like him, and I watched him play a couple. He hits the ball fucking hard. He just doesn't have the fucking launch. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he hits the ball fucking hard as shit. Yeah. They have a good team. And then Cole Reagans is one of my favorite pitchers in all of baseball. Like, that motherfucker is fucking nasty.
Yeah. Got him for Chapman.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean the AL Central is just like when are we gonna have a chance as the White Sox? When are we going to have a chance?
2026 at the earliest. If a lot of things break right, I mean, we'll see.
But I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you who's breaking right now. Yeah, my guy. Yeah, huh? Yeah.
Anthony knows all about Mr. LA Knight.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that's my guy.
That's the guy right there.
I mean, me and you, we don't talk that much, but when we talk, it's all about L.A. Knight. Yeah. It's about that guy. But I think that they need to put him a belt on him. I'm excited about where we're going in Mania season, and I'm sorry, Tony, we got to do this to you. but me and Steve are fucking wrestling fans. I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry.
Go
Don't
for it.
apologize to him.
Yeah. So Steve, Mania season is upon us. Cody.
Hey, look here. You're done. I'm coming in and I'm taking your place, and you can go ahead and walk to the back.
Is what happened last fucking Friday, bro. Like, for real. Like,
there's a lot of things kind of going around on the internet that maybe this is just all a big swerve. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, honestly, because like when that, I was actually out like on Friday, so like I didn't even see it.
You didn't see it?
So I watched the replay, Saturday morning and everything, and it was very unexpected, honestly. So as far as like what direction they kind of take this thing, I mean, like I don't think it makes sense to do Rock versus Roman Reigns for the title. Now, granted, I mean, this is going to be WrestleMania 40, the biggest one there. I'm going to be at night 2 in Philly for it. So if I get to see the match, I mean, that'll be cool. But I think having it for the title, like, The Rock, I mean, he hasn't wrestled full time in 20 years or, in close to 20 years at this point. I mean, yeah, he had that, stint, 2013, 2014 and everything, but like that still wasn't really a full-time stint. He's not going to come in and end the longest reigning champion streak in 40 years since Hulk Hogan.
No sense, right?
Like it doesn't
makes
work.
No sense.
So, that's where like
they're going to drop so here's what I think is going to happen. And just hear me out, Steve. And if I'm wrong, or if you feel like I'm kind of like whatever, just let me know. Here's what I think. Elimination Chamber is going to be Rock versus fucking Roman. Right? And Roman's going to drop the belt. Next night on Raw, Rock is going to drop the belt to Cody. Right? And then it's going to be Cody versus whoever the fuck, right? At WrestleMania. But it's going to be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 2 as head of the table.
See, I don't necessarily foresee that happening just because, I mean, with Cody winning the Rumble, then you've got to.
I guess so. He has to face Seth, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that he would necessarily have to face Seth, but like, I don't think that they would have him win the title before Mania. Like to me, that just kind of isn't that dilutes the story, I think, in a lot of ways.
Who can they put the belt on? They have to take the belt off of Roman.
Here's basically how I see, like, I think there's two options. Either this whole thing is a giant swerve and Cody gets the shot at WrestleMania and beats him. Otherwise, Roman is taking this thing at least till Survivor Series at that point. He's gonna pass Hogan's streak.
They wouldn't do it at Survivor Series. It's definitely going to SummerSlam.
Well, I see if it gets to SummerSlam though, he still wouldn't have passed Hogan's title reign though.
Okay, right.
So like it would be Survivor Series at the earliest. Like you could almost then see another scenario where maybe it isn't even until WrestleMania 41 next year.
That would be crazy.
I mean, which
But I mean, so if they're not going to take the belt off of Roman, like who can they put the belt on? Because Gunther is they had it set up to where Gunther was going to get the belt
the fake belt off of Seth.
But now they have to move off that because it has to be Cody now.
I don't think that they would have Cody beat Seth. Like I think that in a lot of ways almost kind of dilutes the whole thing that they've tried to build Cody up for. Like they've built him up to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns, because they talk about tying in his dad, Dusty, and him never getting the WWF championship during his time there and everything. And so like, it becomes more impactful if he beats Roman. If he beats Seth to win the secondary title, I just don't think it means as much then.
It don't, because his fucking promo was like, I want that belt.
Yeah.
That's the belt I want.
Yeah.
That's the belt I deserve. That's the belt, whatever. And now all of a sudden, like, I don't know how they're going to go. But right now, Triple H is getting his fucking ass whipped on social media. People are hating on him. I'm really, The person I really hate the most right now is Carmelo Hayes. Like, I want to kick him in his teeth. I hate Carmelo Hayes right now, motherfucker.
See, I'm just happy that Pepsi Phil didn't get what he wanted at WrestleMania.
Well,
it just
you know,
makes me
he's got
happy.
this. He's got, you know, he's got a fucking bum. He's got a bum wing. Hey, Pepsi Phil, you got a bum wing, huh? Hey, you know what? CM Punk, like, he is a fucking master on the microphone. He can fucking talk with his microphone in his hand, and he does some great shit in the fucking in the ring. But I think that he's lost a little mojo when he left for that little bit of time.
Well, I mean, now
he's bitching and moaning and coming back. So
well, that's all he's been doing for 10 years is whining and complaining. I mean, that's all he does. You know,
like, how many Copacabana fucking podcasts was he on?
Right. I mean, like, everything is always everyone else's fault. Pepsi Phil is never to blame for any of it. Never. It's always everybody else. What's the one common denominator in all of these problems?
Yeah,
I can't quite figure it out.
Yeah,
you know, I thought it was hilarious last Monday when he was doing his whole sad routine, and then he talks about, the Chicago Cubs have a saying, wait till next year.
Yeah.
You know, he always has to talk about the Hawks or the Cubs and everything, that loser. And then as soon as he brought up the Cubes, then Drew comes out and just buries him. And I absolutely love what Drew has been doing to him this week.
Drew has been a
great
menace.
It's been great.
Drew has been a fucking menace, and I'm here for it. Like, they needed Drew to turn heel.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a Drew guy now just because he's burying.
Like, he is all over social media just going fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, I love that guy.
I'm here for it.
So what do we do with Jade Cargill, in your opinion?
I mean, I think they're gonna probably set her up to fight Bianca, would be my guess at Mania.
WrestleMania? At Mania?
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I just don't know how they're gonna build the story, but
yeah, they kind of started a little bit at Rumble when they had the face off and everything. Yeah. So I think that's going to kind of be where that whole thing starts. All I know is this: Mommy better not lose the title at Mania.
She cannot lose the title. I'm sorry. If they take the belt off of Rhea
and
Ripley,
put it on Becky Lynch,
I would lose my. I keep having Asinine is another scumbag, and I keep having this conversation with him, and like. Asinine is adamant that they're going to put the belt on Becky Lynch one more time, and I will lose my fucking mind.
Absolutely terrible.
Like, I don't want Becky to win another fucking, like, she doesn't deserve it, in my opinion.
No. They're doing all these long title runs again now for the first time in a couple of decades here. Like, Rhea is the one woman that you watch on this thing that looks believable.
Yes, like she's a goon.
Yeah.
And I love goons. Like, she's the first female goon since China.
Like, she's a genuine ass kicker.
Yeah. Like, she's the first one since China.
Yeah.
You know, like, Sasha Banks was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, Charlotte was fairly believable, but
she's a Flair, so fuck her.
But I mean, I can't wait for Mania. I'm happy to know that you're going. Make sure you send me some pictures from there. That's pretty fucking dope.
I will. It's gonna be cool. You know, I lucked out in the sense that I've got coworkers that you know, my company I work for is based out in Philly, so I've got coworkers. I got a free place to stay. I've got all my airline points. So literally, all I had to pay for was the ticket to the event itself.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. That's one thing that my kids like. So when I was hey Tony, check this out. So she's a man. That's crazy.
Well, don't listen to Voodoo. He's a weirdo.
Yeah. So Tony, check this out. When my daughter was my oldest child, she's 26 now. When she was a kid, you know what? She would be crying. She would literally be crying, like balls to the walls, tears everywhere, crying. All I had to do was pop in a tape of Monday Night Raw, and she would stop crying. Literally.
There you go.
Like, she would literally, she heard fucking the wrestling music come on, or she'll hear fucking bum 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 bum, and she would just stop, right? Or she was, if you smell, like, she would lose her mind as a baby. To this day, she's 26 years old. She loves wrestling. So that's why I can never give up on wrestling.
Well, that's how Anthony's son is.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. He
I mean, if you smell like that's like, you know.
he watched some of the whatever event was on the other week, but he
Yeah.
didn't even know it was like on. You know, like he's not tracking it.
Yeah, well
He just figured out that it was on, and then he rooted against all of. He'd come upstairs. He's watching down here in the basement. He'd come upstairs. He'd ask me. He said, "Who's Steve rooting for? I want that guy to lose because I want Steve to have a miserable night."
How old is your son?
He is 11.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Because after a while, it's just gonna become who he wants, and it's gonna be somebody like Ric Flair that's gonna like Ric Flair took my fucking fandom to a whole nother level as a kid. Like watching Ric Flair,
that no good scoundrel,
talk his shit against Sting and the rest of these motherfuckers. Like he would be talking shit. Like, could you imagine having somebody just talk shit to you every fucking week? That was Ric Flair. Like he talks shit every week, and that's what I grew up watching. I was like, holy shit, I want to be Ric Flair. I want to be limousine riding, jet flying. You know what I mean? I wanted to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my guy. You know, so I love wrestling only because like I know it's fake, but it's the stories. It's the fact that these guys are actors and athletes at the same time. Like this is fucking good. So anyway. Tony, thank you. I'm sorry. We've been on here for 2 hours. Steve, thank you. I could talk Sox and sports and shit all fucking day, but I know this is you guys' show, and I appreciate y'all having me on. So you know,
Ray, we were happy to have you, man. This has been fun.
It's been a blast. Just make sure that you tell Justin to shut the fuck up for me.
I will tell Justin to shut the fuck up because I tell him to shut the fuck up for myself. So I would say, hey, from me and Steve, shut the fuck up.
I greatly appreciate that.
But here's what I will say. You know, you Sox on Tap guys. Shout out to Buzz, Tony, Steve. Thank you. This was an honor and it was special, and I enjoyed my time talking to you guys. I was able to get a little bit of this venom that I have for the White Sox.
Pent up aggression.
Yeah, I was able to get that out. And if you ever do, like, just, you know, I would say have Justin on, have Asinine on, have Ian on. These guys are fucking baseball guys. You know what I'm saying? Mac is a fucking baseball guy. Like these guys, Eric is a baseball guy. Sox Nick is a baseball guy. Just Caleb is a fucking Twins fan, but he's a baseball guy. I just have so many friends that I met through the spaces that are my boys, and they're my scumbags, they're my friends, they're my crew, and they're just fucking baseball. Like the amount of shit that I know, I can't touch Asinine. I can't touch fucking Justin. I can't touch Mac. I can't touch Eric. These guys are fucking amazing guys. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to have met them and to be able to talk to them every fucking day because we came together through the spaces. Yeah. And I want you guys to come in more often during the spaces this year because I'm gonna start running them more often this year.
We'll be in there. We'll be in there.
And it's more like during certain Sox games, I'll run them, but majority of the time it'll be fantasy. So if Tony come in, and I don't know who you have on your team, but we love fantasy, man. Like fantasy runs my life. I watched like 800 fucking games last year. My wife hates it, like because I'm watching all my guys like play fucking. Like I'm excited about Royce Lewis, and I hate the fucking Twins, but he's on my team, so I want him to fucking be great. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys, man, and you know, this was fun. This was fun. Yeah,
absolutely, Ray. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you let everybody know one last time where they can find you on all your social media handles?
Yeah. So SK Powell, S_K_Powell at That's the at on Twitter.
On the X.
On the X, yeah. I was trying to say whatever the fuck it is now. Like on Elon's fucking app.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at on there. So S_K_Powell. SK is Sir Knight. I was a Mason. I am a Mason, but I'm not all square. So that's what that's for. And then on Instagram, if you want to see my barber work, you can go on Instagram, Ray Jr. _ the barber. That's on Instagram. And then, Ray's Juke Joint at Ray's Juke Joint, RAE Juke Joint on Twitter, on X. That's where the podcast is, and you can see us on YouTube underneath the same name and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to do big things over there, and trying to change it up and be more vocal and into the social media thing. It's just hard because life gets in the way sometimes, and everybody is an adult and we have lives, and stuff happens. So I'm glad I had time today to come on Sox on Tap with Tony, with Northwest Indiana Steve. I don't know where you are, but Steve, I'm gonna hit you on your DMs because I'm in Northwest Indiana, so it's no reason why we can't have fucking beers.
We'll talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
He's not drinking right now, Ray, but
I will be drinking again by the time the season rolls around, Anthony. All right.
Yeah,
I'll
buy you a fucking. I'll buy you a fucking Perrier water. Do they still make Perrier water? Whatever, man.
Listen. By the time the season rolls around, we'll drink some old fashions. All right.
There you go. Outstanding.
I'm an old fashioned guy. It's well documented.
And just Buzz. I know you're not here, but I know you're going to see this, and you're my guy. And I wish you were here, but shout out to Buzz. Buzz on Tap, or Bradley, as you guys have told
Bradley,
me.
yes.
Brad. I know it's Brad, but I didn't know it's Bradley.
Yeah. Stop calling him Buzz.
We're big on formal names. We're big on formal names.
Okay.
Here at Sox on Tap, that's kind of how we.
Okay,
roll.
so Bradley, just so you know, Ray, you are my boy. Just so you know that, and you and your beautiful children and your wife, just know that it goes a long way because it's been plus years with me and him. So that's just between me and him. So shout out to Buzz. So
I like it.
Love it. Yep. Ray, thanks again for coming on, man. This was awesome White Sox talk. We're going to have to do this again, and I'm sure you'll find Steven and I in the spaces at some point during this season. That's all we've got for today. Make sure you're following the show at Sox On Tap. You follow the site at On Tap Sportsnet. Make sure you're going to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs, as our guy Bradley would say. Steven, let's get out of here. White Sox forever.
White Sox for life.